In 2018 I gathered some musicians for a project called Busymaze. In 2019 we had the core and I was looking for a release, but I also knew we needed something visual to get attention on social media. So I thought of a band on a driving train through the desert, and I thought it would be possible with green screen shooting and some 3D rendering.
So what are you waiting for? Stop digging in the dirt.
I made some computer graphics to check out camera positions and to see what is possible. I knew I could realize a green screen shooting, but I needed help from a 3D artist. There was no big budget, so I was looking for YouTube channels from a 3D artist to find somebody who could help me. In the beginning of 2020, with the worldwide pandemic, I found someone in Texas in the United States using the free 3D software Blender. We agreed on a budget and he started working on the project. The whole world where the music video should take place had to be created from scratch. I thought of some rocky mountains, the tracks, an American train in the desert, and I sent him some images and he created this world from scratch. Meanwhile, we recorded the demo track with the band with a working title, If You Know Better, that became later Keep On Moving. The 3D artist sent me some renderings which were very impressive and showed me what is possible. The renderings needed some adjustments concerning camera positions, and he sent me again some very impressive renderings. But I wanted more rocky mountains and I wanted to have the band name on the train. Some little adjustments had to be made.
No matter what, nothing brings you down.
It was time to send him some footage to see if the tracking and the green screen would work. The result was so convincing that it gave me even more motivation to realize my vision. The pandemic was a strange time, so it forced us for a long break and to work from distance. But the next step should be to go in the studio. In August 2021, our bass player unfortunately decided to leave the project. But it didn't stop my motivation at all. I decided to hire one of Germany's best bass players, Daniel Hopf, and we recorded some tracks in the studio. Only 1 week after the recording studio, I decided to shoot the footage for the video. Even the track was not finished, and even the vocal were not recorded, we used the demo version we had for the shooting. For the shooting we needed a location where we could shoot outside with a drone, could set up a stage and a green screen. Luckily we found a nearby company with stage equipment and we could shoot the video there. We had to set up the green screen and position some markers for the tracking. In the beginning it was clear for me that we would shoot under best weather conditions. It should be outside, the sun should be straight coming from the front, so that we should have best result for the compositing and keying. There's a website called Shadow Calculator where you can determine what time would be the best for the shooting. For the shooting most of us had sunglasses. I especially used contact lenses with the function of sunglasses to avoid blinking for the shoot. I was told and advised to do screenplay, but there was no option for me because then everybody had to know at exact every second what to do, and I decided to take several takes and to decide which shots would be the best then, and that worked out quite good. Most of the shots were improvised, but I had a little choreo in it and we had to work out how to knee, and we wanted to shoot it backwards, so we had to practice this. The shooting of the saxophone solo should take place much later. In November 2021 I had a first edit of all the best scenes. And now it was time to send all the scenes to the 3D artist for tracking and for 3D rendering. After sending him the first scenes, he came back with a message that the rendering costs would be now 4 times higher than we fixed in the budget. So I had to look again for another freelancer, and we had to fix all the specifications and the budget again. I had a lot of conversation. And finally I worked with freelancers from Pakistan and Taiwan. and we had to figure out some specifications concerning the stage size, the train size and the proportions to the band. We had to communicate on the position of the train because the train was driving with a special speed, and at every frame in the virtual world the surrounding would be a different one. Finally, I sent some footage for the tracking. It sounds easy, but it was not. There were a lot of issues going on concerning perspective, and we found out that the focal length of the camera shooting the scenes was a big issue. After a lot of try and error and figuring out the data we needed, the final shots were made. The rendering time for 1 second footage could go up to 1 hour and more, so we had a lot of rendering time.
So what are you waiting for? Stop digging in the dirt.
After he sent me the first renderings, I had to check the green screen footage and how it would work with the editing. Okay, you can't plan everything on a shooting like this. And what I didn't think about was the sun was moving, of course, and the green screen was causing shadow on the stage, what would look unusual and had to be fixed. So we had to work on a lot of scenes, and instead of using rotoscoping, which means to erase the parts you don't want frame by frame, we used software using artificial intelligence to erase the parts we didn't need. We had about 90 shots. Every shot is a special effect shot. Every shot had to be touched several hours, had to be composed, the green screen had to be worked on, the stage had to be removed. So it took a lot of work for each shot.
You have the power to never lose.
For some shots it was the idea to use a virtual band, and so we had to rebuild our band from scratch, and I had to find somebody to do this. But in the later process we decided not to take too much of this footage. Nearly 1 year after the first green screen shooting, we shot the saxophone solo, and all these shots had to be rendered and composed as well. At the same time, the final tracks to the song were added and the track was mixed. So the last scenes were rendered and the compositing was completed. So after about 2 years I realized my vision: a band on a train.